Good morning, everybody. I hope you're well and waiting for the snow if it comes. Hopefully it won't. But we're looking forward to being together in worship on Sunday virtually again, and looking forward to sharing with you on that day, 11 o'clock. Join us live if you can. It just increases that sense of being together, doing something together and worshipping God together. So 11 o'clock on Sunday on our YouTube channel, and hopefully, well, I won't see you there, hopefully you'll see me there. I'm going to read this morning from Mark chapter 6, and beginning at verse 45. This is after the feeding of the 5,000. Immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had taken leave of them, he went up on the mountain to pray. And when evening came, the boat was out on the sea, and he was alone on land. And he saw that they were making headway painfully, for the wind was against them. About the fourth watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea. He meant to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the sea, they thought it was a ghost and cried out, for they all saw him and were terrified. But immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I, be not afraid." And he got into the boat with them, and the wind ceased, and they were utterly astounded, for they did not understand about the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored to the shore. When they got out of the boat, the people immediately recognized him and ran about the whole region and began to bring the sick people on their beds to wherever they heard he was. Wherever he came, in villages, cities, or countryside, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and implored him that they might touch even the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well. Do you understand what happened in the miracle of the loaves and the fishes, the previous story, the feeding of the 5,000? Because apparently the disciples didn't. Verse 52 tells us the disciples didn't understand the purpose or the point of that miracle. Why does Mark say that at that point? Why does he refer back to that miracle whenever they're in the middle of a different episode? How would understanding the miracle of the loaves and fishes help them in yet another storm at sea? They might have seen, the answer is they might have seen, if they'd understood, that the things that we worry about, the things that cause us anxiety, concern, are actually not a problem to Jesus. You see, they were concerned, how are we going to get 200 denarii to feed all these people, to buy food to feed all these people, Jesus? How is this going to happen? To Jesus, that wasn't a concern. That wasn't a problem. Here in this episode, they're concerned, they're straining against the wind. Doesn't seem to be quite as severe a storm as it was, as the previous one was. They don't seem to be in danger of being swamped or drowned. But still, it's tough, it's hard going, they are expending energy, it's not an easy night at sea. And they're anxious, they're concerned if it gets any worse. But what they should have known is that the things that they were concerned about, the things that they're putting so much effort into, are not an issue, not a problem to Jesus, because he is sovereign over it all. Jesus sees them out at sea and comes to them. And there are things we need to learn, there are things we need to understand from this passage for ourselves. Jesus sees us in the middle of the storm. He sees us. He knows exactly what we're going through. He knows when we are struggling. He knows when we're finding it tough. He knows when we feel like we're battling against the wind. He knows whenever that is going on. He understands exactly what you're going through today, what you're facing today, what might be in your path today. He knows, he sees it. He's not unaware of the challenges, of the difficulties, of the problems you face and the concerns you have. He sees us in the storm. And he comes to us in the storm. When help seems far away, Jesus makes his way to us. He comes alongside us in the middle of the storm. He doesn't leave us alone to fight it out by ourselves. He's there, right there with you. Whatever you're facing today, whatever difficulty, whatever hardship, whatever challenges, whatever problems, Jesus is right there in the midst of it with you. Whatever sadnesses, whatever sorrows, whatever griefs you're facing, Jesus is right there in the midst of it with you. The question is, will we cry out to him for help in our struggles, in our difficulties, in our sorrows? Or will we just let him pass by? So he sees us in the storms. He comes to us in the storms. And he speaks to us in the storms. And he speaks exactly the words that we need to hear. He knows the words we need to hear. And the words we need to hear are the same words the disciples needed to hear. Take courage. It is I, or probably what it would have sounded like in Aramaic was I am. Reminding them again, or sparking off that thought in their mind of who he really is, the covenant God of Israel in the flesh. Take courage, I am. Fear not, you've no need to fear when I am with you. Those are the words we need to hear all the time, aren't they? And especially in the middle of what we're going through. And then, not only does Jesus see us in the storm, come to us in the storm, speak to us in the storm, but he brings us safe to shore. We have a journey's end to look forward to that is guaranteed, that is certain. We have no need to ultimately worry because that goal is guaranteed. The hymn that we often sing at BB enrolments when we're allowed to have BB enrolments says, will you anchor safe by the heavenly shore when life's storms are past forevermore? That's the destination. That's the place he's leading us to. That's the safe shore. And we can trust him to take us there. God bless.